my God, she be looking crusty. What is happening? Whoa! What's happening? Hey guys, it's Haley. Welcome to another bookish video. Today I'm reading one of my very favorite booktubers' favorite books, and I could not be more excited. So if y'all know anything about me, you know that I love thrillers. I'm the thriller queen. I cannot get enough of them. And I love other people who shamelessly love thrillers as much as I do, because I feel like it's really easy to critique the thriller genre and point out everything bad about it. But it is my guilty pleasure, so I can really appreciate someone else who indulges in thrillers like I do. So today and this week, I'm going to be vlogging reading Matt's favorite books. If y'all don't watch Matt the Page Turner, let me tell you, he is the best. I love his videos, especially his reading vlogs. He almost exclusively reads thrillers. Like, most of the books that he reads is like very much like me, like are mainly thrillers. He has taste, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, his personality is so adorable. I absolutely love Matt. I've been obsessed with him and his channel for so long, and then we started DMing on Instagram, and I was like, this friendship is everything I thought it would be and more. So we stan Matt. Please go subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into the TBR for this video. I'm going to be reading A Good Marriage by Kimberly McWright, Long Bright River by Liz Moore, and The Brightlands by John Fram. So all of these thrillers are Matt's favorites, obviously, but they also all have some sort of social commentary, I believe. So those usually end up being my favorite kind of thrillers as well. So I'm really hopeful that I'm gonna find some brand new favorites in this vlog. So the first one I'm gonna start with is Long Bright River by Liz Moore. This is a crime thriller about an investigator who is investigating the disappearance of these women. They're like vagrant women on the streets. I don't know if they're like necessarily homeless or struggling with addiction or something like that, but it's basically the women that the system does not care about and disregards. So she's investigating these disappearances, and at the same time her sister is one of these women who are at risk, and she's afraid that she's going to go missing or turn up dead as well. So it's about her and the sibling relationship, and also I think there's going to be social commentary about the police system and our investigators and how they look at, you know, these people who are struggling. Also, there's like a mystery thriller crime element. So it sounds like it has all the ingredients to be one of my favorite books. I know there's really strong sibling relationships in this book, and I obviously am a sibling, and I really like books that go into the sibling relationship. So I think I'm really going to enjoy this one. I haven't started it yet, but as soon as I do, I will update you. Just one more thing before I start reading these books for this video. I just wanted to talk about the thriller genre really quickly. Oftentimes I feel almost like guilty, or I have this like weird trepidation when it comes to talking about thrillers or wrapping up my reading at the end of the month, because I do mainly read thrillers. There's a lot that you can critique about the genre, and I definitely see that, but I also don't think there's any shame in indulging in this genre. So I read books for escapism, right? I just want to escape my life and read a story of like, like, you know, tragic, crazy things that would never happen in real life. Obviously, I like the story better if it has real world implications, but it's kind of the equivalent to me of watching like Bravo or TLC. You know, it's a train wreck. It's usually produced by white people with not a lot of intrigue or interest or representation for other people. But it's like a guilty pleasure, right? I don't want to be watching BBC documentaries at all time, which would be like reading to educate myself or reading really beautiful writing or really meaningful text, which of course I love reading that as well. But I feel like the bulk of my reading is just like trash thrillers, and that's fine. And I'm kind of trying to come to terms with that fact that that's my taste, and maybe her taste level is questionable, that's fine. But those are the kind of books that I mostly like to read. It makes me really happy when there's someone else in the booktube community that has similar taste to me. It makes me feel less guilty for not reading, you know, the wonderfully intellectual and diverse and nuanced books that everyone else on booktube seems to be reading. Because obviously those books are important to me, but sometimes I just don't want to think, and I just want to read about a woman cheating on her husband and killing him. Like, so anyway, all of this to say that I know the thriller genre is maybe not the best. There is not an author of color featured in this video, and I know these books are probably not going to be literary masterpieces, but it also makes me feel good that someone else on booktube has my taste. It makes me feel less guilty for liking the books that I like. I'm sorry for rambling. I know this is going to be like a long, chaotic thing I'm going to have to edit down, but all of this to say, thank you for existing and having similar tastes to me, Matt. I really appreciate it, and it makes me feel less alone and less guilty for liking the things that I like, because in the end of the day, this is a guilty pleasure. I'm not reading these books and saying that these are the most masterpieces of all time, but they can also be 5 stars and give me a really fun day of reading. So that's all. I hope that made sense. So update, I am about a third of the way through Long Bright River. I've been listening to the audio while I was running errands, and also sorry my voice sounds like this. I'm like really congested and sick right now, so apologies, but I don't know how I feel about it. It's kind of boring. I'm not very intrigued by police perspectives often. Like usually when there's an investigator perspective in a thriller, I'm not the biggest fan of it. So I feel like that is kind of kicking in right now, but I really like the alternating chapters that go into like the investigator's past with her and her sister and how they grew up and their family dynamics. So I'm liking that. There's not really a mystery going on, and we're a third of the way in. Like, I just want to know when the thrills are gonna happen in this thriller. So we're waiting, we're trying to see when this is gonna happen. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. I'm a little bit bored. Okay, I will probably listen a little bit more before Cameron gets home from work. And then, I don't know, we have like a fun like Bachelor thing tonight. We're gonna watch The Bachelor with some of our friends on Zoom. So we're doing like drink rosé and watch The Bachelor all together, and we can like talk on Zoom during commercial breaks. So that should be fun. And I'm making tacos, so maybe I'll put in some B-roll of that, and I will update you later. Hello and good morning. It's the next day. I'm aware that I'm wearing the same hoodie 2 days in a row. What do you want me to do? It's fine. So I actually finished Long Bright River this morning, so I will go ahead and give you my update. Matt, don't hate me. So I'm gonna give Long Bright River 3 stars. It definitely is not my favorite thriller I've ever read, but I can see why it would be someone's favorite. For me, a thriller has to be so fast-paced. It's like a movie in your head. There's action on every other page. There's a cliffhanger every few chapters. Like, I need action. Like Pretty Girls, there's something happening every other chapter. The One by John Mars, every chapter is a twist, like, are the kind of thrillers that I gravitate towards and I end up really liking. And there's nothing really wrong with Long Bright River, it just isn't that. It's very much a slow burn mystery rather than an action-packed thriller. So a lot of the time I was finding myself really bored and my mind was kind of wandering from the story just because I need that action. Like, I really need that action to keep me invested in the story. Something I did actually enjoy about the book was the going into the past and our main characters' like family trauma and all of that. I liked those discussions of like the family dynamics and how intergenerational trauma can affect you. That is something that I always like in a book, but I felt like it just wasn't interesting enough. Like, I needed less sad and more like scandal and drama. And I know that's like a weird critique to give, but every time it was a flashback, I was like more interested in the story, but then I was also just like really sad because this girl had a really unfortunate childhood. So I liked those discussions, but it really brought me down. And I don't know, maybe I just read this book at not the right time. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood for a slow burn, a sad kind of this is the harsh reality kind of mystery. I'm much more in the mood for something like light, action-packed, crazy, dramatic, like the thrillers that I usually read. But it is also a very detailed book. Like, it is so detailed. And I think that's why I was also getting bored, because it took so long to get to the point. And the writing was gorgeous, I do have to say. The detail was there and it was gorgeous writing, but I just needed it to get to the point. My favorite thing about this book, though, is the commentary. I critique thrillers a lot of the time for not having a message or just being like a dramatic reality show, which there's definitely a place for that, and I definitely enjoy those books, but I think I enjoy a thriller more when it has some kind of message or social commentary to it, and this book definitely does. I loved the discussions around the priorities that the police have and how they might be quick to assume things about some victims of violent crime versus others. And I also liked the commentary about gentrification and how neighborhoods and cities can change and how the police reacts to that. I thought those were really important and impactful conversations that you don't see brought up a ton in thrillers, so I did appreciate that. And I also liked that we got the perspective from a female cop. I don't usually like cop or investigator perspectives, so again, that was probably played into the 3-star rating, was that I just don't like reading from the investigator's perspective. But with this specific perspective, I did enjoy that she was a female cop, so she got to kind of give some perspective on what it's like to be a woman on the force. And I never thought about how it comes with its own problems and how you might want to be doing some change from the inside and nobody's listening to you, but you have this horrible perception about you because you're a police officer, when you're like, I'm trying to fight the fight in here, but nobody's listening to me because everybody's misogynistic, you know. So I really liked that conversation and gaining some of that perspective. So I did appreciate this book. It's a solid 3 stars. For me, it just wasn't amazing. It didn't captivate me like some of my favorite thrillers do, but it definitely wasn't bad. I cannot sit here and bash this book. It was a very good book. Solid 3 stars, but definitely not a favorite. I'm so sorry, Matt. Please don't hate me. And next up, I'm going to be reading The Brightlands by John Fram, and I'm so excited for this one. So I don't want to go into it knowing a lot. I just know it has like Friday Night Lights vibes, growing up gay in a southern town. I think it actually does take place in Texas, or at least in the South. So I like that. I like the LGBTQIA rep. So we're gonna get into it and I will update you with my thoughts. Hello guys, good morning. Oh my god, why Why do you always jingle when I start filming? Why do you jingle?
Whoa, what's happening? Oh my God, so much has happened.
Okay, hello, good morning. I am here in my Draco sweatshirt. Haha.
I have to do this. I have to kill you. If I don't, he'll kill me.
These are the vibes that I'm living for. So, what are we supposed to be talking about? Books. I'm supposed to be talking about books. Okay. Not thirsting over Draco, talking about books. Okay. Let's get in the zone. I don't know. I'm in a weird mood right now. Sorry. Okay. On my run this morning, I was listening to the Brightlands and I got to the halfway point. It's a pretty short audiobook, which I was surprised because the book like kind of looks like a chunker, like when you look at the physical book, but I guess the text is big or something, but it's like really fast paced and I'm really liking it. Let me give you a little bit better synopsis now that I am kind of into it. I'm halfway through, so I'll try not to give away too much, but basically this is the story of this man named Joel, who's a gay man. He moved away from his small little disgusting Texas hometown to live his gay life in the city. I think he lives in New York or something, some like big city. And he's just living, but his little brother is still like stuck in their town. And he reaches out to Joel one day and he's like, I just can't be here anymore. Like, I'm really struggling. He's like the star quarterback football player in his high school football team. And he's like, I want to quit football, but there's so much pressure on me. I just hate this town. I got to get out of here. So Joel goes back to his hometown to try to help out his little brother and rekindle a relationship with him. And while he's there, weird, creepy shit starts happening. He starts hearing voices. Everyone in the town starts having these weird, collective, terrifying dreams and visions. So it's basically gay Southern Nightmare on Elm Street is the best way that I could describe it to you, and I'm here for it, so I'm loving it so far. The only thing that I'm like, about it is there are like 1 million different perspectives that we're following, and I love multiple perspective thrillers, y'all know this, but I'm losing track of who is who because there's so many different football players and I'm like mixing them up. I don't know who is Luke and who is Mitchell and who is Garrett. Like, they all sound like the same white boy, so I'm confused. And when we're following literally like 12 different perspectives, we're following 3 football players, we're following 2 different cheerleaders, we're following somebody's mom, we're following 2 police investigators, we're following literally so many people on top of Joel. I kind of wish that we just had Joel's perspective and a couple others because I feel like it is a little much and it's kind of confusing me. So that is the only thing at this point that's taking me out of the story, but I'm really liking it so far overall. I also am really liking the social commentary. Y'all know that I love a thriller that has a message, and this one definitely has a message. I just wish that it wasn't so like
Homophobia is bad.
like, that's a very obvious message, and I wish that it was approached in a more nuanced way instead of being so blatant, because obviously blatant homophobia is definitely a thing, especially in the South, in a small town in Texas. But I think the commentary and just literature in general is a lot more effective when it's more nuanced, or it calls greater attention to things that people might overlook rather than the blatant homophobia or blatant, you know, social injustices. So those are my only critiques so far, but I'm really liking it. It is really graphic and really thrilling. I would say there's more of like a horror element to it than most thrillers that I've read, so I'm enjoying that. And I was not expecting that or these kind of spectral, dream-like, not necessarily paranormal, but like magical realism kind of elements, I guess you would call it. So I'm enjoying it so far, and I'm gonna go about my day, hopefully finish the audiobook and let you know my thoughts. Okay, so I finished the Brightlands, and and I was liking it so much. And then the end just happened. And I just, it just wasn't the best in my opinion. So let's sit down and talk about it. So, the end of this thriller, The Brightlands, did the thing where it absolutely goes off the rails and descends into weirdness and craziness. And I don't think this is a spoiler, like I would want to know this going in to a book anyway. It's just like, I'm not gonna say what happened in the end, I'm just gonna talk about the nature of the ending of the book. That reminded me of like When No One Is Watching, Clown in a Cornfield. Oh my god, it was so reminiscent of Clown in a Cornfield. Lock Every Door, where it's just, the ending simply goes off the rails into absolute chaos. And I'm beginning to realize that those are not the type of thrillers that I like. I like the crazy twists, but I like them to be more realistic. And you don't get to the end and then it's like, oh, none of this would ever possibly happen. This is just like weird, crazy. Like When No One Was Watching, for me, it was such a great book up until the very end. It just was like too much. And same thing for Clown in a Cornfield. It just like went off the rails and was too crazy. And it's like, not everything has to be this big conspiracy and underground network that you have to expose. Like sometimes it can just be a murder investigation. And I think those are the thrillers that I like better, when it's just a very realistic murder mystery that could happen in real life, but it's just like the craziest, most twisty shit you've ever read, and it's written in a way that is surprising and done well. And I also like when it has that bit of social commentary. That is my ideal thriller, and this was not serving me that. This was serving me going off the rails, descending into madness, and I just didn't like that. I feel like it really cheapened the message of the book. Like, overall social commentary was about shame and guilt that's associated with experiencing, like, questioning your sexuality, your orientation, your identity, whatever, when you live in the South. There's a lot of shame around it, especially if you're Christian or you have certain beliefs. So I really liked that commentary and getting into that topic, but I think the way that the ending took place really cheapened the message, because it was just graphic slasher craziness, and it just cheapened the message. It hit exactly like Clown in a Cornfield hit for me, because Clown in a Cornfield was trying to do something with their little fuck Trump message, which I agree with that message, but the message was cheapened because of the end of the book. And I feel like the same thing happened here. I gave Clown in a Cornfield 3.5 stars. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this book 3.5 stars as well, just because it gave me the same vibe. And I'm so disappointed, because I really thought I was gonna love this one and give it 5 stars. Even at the halfway point, when I was like, oh my god, so many perspectives, I'm so scared, what's happening? I was still really, really enjoying it, but the end just ruined it. I wish I wouldn't have listened to those last like 10 chapters, because it just ruined the whole book for me. I wanted it to be more nuanced and less obvious, and it just wasn't. So I'm a little upset about it, but what you gonna do? So that's that for Brightlands. Next up, I'm gonna start A Good Marriage, and I think I'm gonna start that during my sprints tonight. I'm hosting some reading sprints with some pals on booktube tonight. Obviously this is in the past for you, but I will link them everywhere if you want to go back and watch them and read with us, and probably play Among Us, because that's probably what we're going to do for the bulk of the reading sprints. But hopefully I will get to at least start A Good Marriage tonight during the sprints. So this is the book that I've been most excited for this video. I think I'm going to connect with it the most. It is about a toxic marriage and a murderer. So there's a murder mystery, it's a domestic thriller. Those are my jam, so I'm hoping I'm gonna really, really like this one. It's not a crime police perspective thriller. It's not what's it called? Just crazy off the rails. It's much more my speed, something I'm much more comfortable with, and I think it's set in court because there's multiple lawyers as main characters in this book. So I really like legal thrillers and court cases a la Night Swim and Miracle Creek. So I'm really excited to get into this. If you don't know what A Good Marriage is about, it follows our main character. I guess it's this lady, and she is a lawyer, and she gets a call from an inmate in prison, which is one of her old friends, happens to be, and his wife turned up dead, and he's the primary suspect, so he's calling her to see if she will defend him. And while she's trying to figure out if her friend actually did kill his wife and also defend him and, you know, figure out what's happening with that, she also has her own drama going on in her marriage that is falling apart. So I'm ready for the drama, I'm ready for the murder mystery, and yeah, I will update you when I get into it. Hello, we're sprinting, but we're not really reading, we're just gonna play Among Us. Sup, y'all? I don't know what that was. Oh my god, you know what that reminds me of? Sup, baby? Wanna smush? Oh my god. I'm jazzed right now. I'm drinking this Clean Cause stuff, and it's a yerba mate. They sent me 2 cases of it to like try it out because it's like an Austin-based local company. It is so freaking good. It's literally amazing, and I usually don't like yerba mate, but this is 0 calories, and it literally just tastes like sparkling water, and this is the cherry lime flavor. It literally tastes like a Sonic cherry limeade, but make it like less. It's just like that nice like sparkling flavor, and it is so good, and it's definitely working. This caffeine is a lot, but I have clients today, so I need to be like upbeat and positive, so yay for that. What am I supposed to be talking? A book. I'm supposed to be talking about a book. Okay, Mochi, what's going on? Do you know? Me either. Okay, last night during the sprints, I got through about 95 pages of A Good Marriage, and I am loving it so far. It is very much giving me Karen Slaughter vibes, so I'm loving that. It's like right out of the gate, first chapter, very intense. I love that. And it is like part legal crime thriller. Oh my god, king. But then it's also like, we're also switching between our lawyer main character and the wife who actually turned up dead, and her life is like my ideal domestic thriller perspective, which is like a rich lady on the town, and I just love hearing about suburban rich white ladies with problems and secrets and toxicity. So I'm really liking this book a lot, and I don't know why, like this book just looked thick to me. So I'm like, a 400-page thriller, like are you freaking kidding me? Like no, it's gonna take me so long to read, but I'm already like a quarter of the way into it, and I just started randomly reading it last night during sprints, and we didn't even sprint for that long. We were mostly just playing Among Us. So it's really good so far. I really like it, and those are my thoughts. Okay, goodbye. See you later. Hey guys, update. I did my hair. I look 10 times cuter than I did. Mochi's here for the updates. I am halfway through A Good Marriage, and y'all, I'm obsessed with this book. It is taking all my willpower to put it down and not just keep reading. It is so good at sucking in my attention and just making me want to read it. This is a thriller that is compulsively readable, unput downable. You know, all those words that they like to put on the covers of books to make you buy it. This one, it's actually true. If you have Book of the Month, I recommend getting this one as an add-on. You would literally pay $10. What's holding you back, right? So it's basically what's happening in the story, our main character is this defense lawyer and she's in the trial. She's trying to get him out of jail, out on bail. She's trying to prepare for like the big murder trial. Everything is happening and it's so interesting. And then behind the scenes, we're also getting what happened before the murder to the actual woman who was murdered. And her life is really interesting. Her past is traumatic. She's one of those bitches who's like a high society rich lady in the suburbs, but she has a dark and traumatic past. And y'all know how I love that kind of a storyline and those kind of characters in my domestic thrillers. I love this book. I feel like this one was written for my enjoyment. And I'm learning more and more that I really like courtroom thrillers with like legality aspects. So I might do a dedicated video reading more of those. Let me know down below if you guys would want to see that from me. But yeah, that's my update. I'm really enjoying this book. I have a feeling I'm just going to stay up as late as possible tonight and try to finish it. But right now, the reason why I'm like actually looking cute in an update for once is because I'm actually going to have dinner with Sahar from Basically Bookish Reads here on YouTube. I cannot believe I'm meeting another one of my bookish friends in person. I'm so excited. So maybe you'll get some like cute vlog footage of us. I don't know. Maybe I'll just be too excited to meet her and too awkward to ask for her to pose in a vlog clip. I don't know. You'll see in about 2 seconds. Hello vlog, it's the next day and I finished A Good Marriage. Sorry for like the super dark lighting. I think it's about to rain, but I just wanted to pop on here and give you my final thoughts about A Good Marriage. So I'm giving this book 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. It reminded me a lot of the mini-series, The People versus O.J. Simpson. If you've seen that, you know it like goes back and forth in between like the legal drama and what's happening in court and what actually happened and, you know, in real life. So it's like you're going in the past and then you're going to the lawyer discussions, and I really like the way that that was done here and also in the miniseries. Highly recommend that if you've never seen it. But yeah, this book was really great. It was super, super surprising and entertaining, even though it was like kind of monotonous at times to get through the legal jargon and actually understand it. Once I understood it, I was like, oh my God, like shaken about the reveals that were happening and just everything that was going on in this book. It was so drama filled and so surprising. There were so many twists and turns, but they weren't cheap at all. They were done really well, especially like the last 30 pages. All of the twists and turns and every reveal was done so like cleverly. Is that a word? I don't know. It was just like very intelligently written. You could tell that the author really thought about every single reveal and how it was going to fit together in the overall story. There was a lot of continuity. Everything made sense, but it wasn't predictable. It was still surprising. I highly recommend this book if you like courtroom thrillers especially, but even if you don't, if you're more of a domestic thriller person or like a crime thriller person, I still think you would really, really enjoy this. Pick it up from Book of the Month, get it as an add-on, super cheap, literally $10, and it was so, so good. The only complaints I have other than like the legal jargon thing was the chapters were pretty long, and from the 200 to the 300 page mark, the chapters did get really long, so it was hard to like find time to sit down and read because I don't want to like quit reading unless I'm at a chapter point. So it was hard to get to that point because the chapters were kind of long, but at the same time I didn't really mind because I was really enjoying the story. I think this is a really smart thriller. That's what I got out of it. So 5 stars, new favorite. I absolutely love this book and I recommend it. Thank you so much, Matt, for giving me this recommendation. I'm so happy I read this for the video. and it seems like the books in this vlog just kept getting better and better and better. So we started off with Long Bright River. Obviously that was not the best for me. It was 3 stars. Then the Brightlands, which was 3.5, rounded up to 4, and then we went from 3 to 4 to 5 with A Good Marriage. So overall, there were aspects of all these books that I really enjoyed. Obviously, we can trust Matt's reviews, and his taste level is stunning, so no need to question him. And definitely, guys, again, go subscribe and watch his videos if you like thrillers especially, but he also reads, you know, other things, horror, contemporary, you know, and he also has really good recommendations that I've never heard of. Like, he's constantly telling me about books that I never would have thought to read and I don't hear many other people talking about. So go watch his channel, and thank you, Matt, for letting me do this video and drag some of your favorite books. I hope you don't hate me too much, and that's gonna be it for this vlog. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like this video if you liked hanging out with me as much as I liked hanging out with you, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.